I recently came across this conversation asking why millennials are leaving the church. As I listened, I found myself asking a completely different question. That's why I believe in not beginning with answers. We ask the questions that healthy vision requires. Welcome to the conversation. So can I ask you something? Is it possible that we're asking the wrong question? Because for years we've asked, why are millennials? Why are Gen Xers? Why are they leaving the church? But what if there's a better question? What if the better question is, what are they searching for that they're not finding? Because when I look across the church, I don't just see different generations. I see different people carrying different stories. I see the widow who's wondering if anyone's going to notice that she's sitting in the same seat, but now alone every Sunday. I see the young professional who's trying to reconcile with the pressures of the workplace. We see different people carrying different stories. I see the widow who's wondering if anyone is noticing that she's been sitting in the same seat, but now alone every Sunday. I see the young professional who's trying to reconcile faith with the pressures of the workplace. I see the college student who isn't looking for entertainment. They're looking for someone willing to disciple and mentor them. I see the empty nesters asking, how do we continue serving in this season of life? I see the retired leader carrying decades of wisdom, but no one has invited them, nor can they see any room for them to mentor the next generation. You see, every generation carries something that the body of Christ needs. Some carry wisdom, some carry innovation, some carry relationships, some carry resources, some even carry fresh energy. So maybe the issue isn't that one generation has more to offer than another. Maybe the issue is that we've stopped listening to one another and we've stopped paying attention to what's not being said. And when we stop listening, when we stop asking questions, assumptions replace relationships. Frustration replaces curiosity. We begin talking about generations instead of talking with them. That's when churches unintentionally lose the very people they're trying to shepherd. And I've noticed these patterns over the years. Have you? For example, some churches are financially healthy, but they're struggling to engage young adults. Others have thriving youth ministries, but they're constantly under financial pressure. So that makes me wonder, instead of us asking, which generation are we missing? Should we be asking, what strengths has God already placed in our congregation that we've never brought together? Healthy vision isn't about choosing one generation over another. Healthy vision isn't about choosing one preference over another. It's about helping every generation understand and carry the same vision together. Think about it. Baby boomers and many Gen X leaders often carry decades of experience, institutional memory, relationships, and a heart for faithful stewardship. Many millennials and Gen Z young adults are asking deeper questions. They're seeking authentic discipleship. They're looking for places where they can genuinely grow in their relationship with Christ and exploring new ways of communicating and building community. Imagine what could happen if those strengths stopped competing and started collaborating. What if your vision isn't requiring another conference? What if it isn't requiring another program? What if your vision is requiring a different kind of conversation? A conversation where every generation isn't just represented, but heard. And here's where I think leadership comes in. Listening isn't passive. It's one of those greatest leadership disciplines. Healthy leaders don't just preach to people. They learn from the people they've been called to shepherd. Listening sounds like, tell me more. Help me to understand, which happens to be my favorite. What has your experience been? What do you wish we knew as your leaders? Where have we served you well? Where have we unintentionally missed you? Those questions don't weaken leadership, they strengthen trust. What's key is not to assume that you already know what your congregation needs. Listen, observe, pay attention to your demographics. Ask better questions while you're discerning what conversations keep surfacing. Who's showing up? Who's quietly disappearing? Maybe they're still attending every Sunday, but they've stopped serving. Those are the stories worth listening to, and those are the patterns worth paying attention to. And one more thought. Listening isn't agreeing with everyone. It isn't changing your theology every time a new generation asks a different question. Listening is faithfully shepherding people well enough to understand what they're carrying before asking them to carry the vision together. Just because a conversation isn't needed doesn't mean everyone is prepared to facilitate it. Conversations across generations require wisdom. They require trust. They require humility, because the wrong person or the wrong approach can unintentionally deepen wounds instead of building understanding. So before you gather people around the table, ask yourself, am I creating a space where people feel safe enough to speak and humble enough to listen? Sometimes the greatest act of leadership isn't having all the answers. It's learning how to guide the right conversation well. So here's a question that I would like for you honestly to reflect on. What is your vision requiring of your church right now? More activity, more conferences, more retreats, or deeper conversations, deeper listening, and deeper formation? Formation that asks you as leaders, who do I need to be to faithfully shepherd every generation God has entrusted to this church and the generation still to come? Because healthy vision isn't built by one generation. It's stewarded by all of them. If this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to continue it. Formation Live isn't just about sharing ideas, it's about unpacking them together. If you'd like to be part of that conversation, send us a DM or email us at info@favoredtogether.com. I'd love to hear your perspective, learn from your experience, and continue exploring what healthy vision is requiring of the church in this generation and the generations to come. So until our next conversation, see clearly, build wisely, steward faithfully.